then I'll stop. I'll stop the recording. Then we can. I don't want to record while we're sharing our lives. I don't think that is useful. But I'll just record this so that, for the sake of your reference for this class, I think that is okay. I don't think. Yeah, I think that's okay. Great. So, thanks, Washira. So, Cain has an issue here. The brother Abel brought an offering before the Lord in verse 4 of chapter 4 of Genesis, fat portions from some of the firstborns of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry. So you can see almost the first instance of a very aggressive emotion right there. And Cain is angry and his face is downcast. So Cain is human. He's just like all of us. We get angry. If I ask you the last time you got angry, I'm sure it could even be today or just a few minutes ago. So Cain is human. He's angry. But what did he control? Was he able to manage that emotion he felt? Because anger is an emotion. God asks him, why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, there's something that's going to happen. Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. So it looks like if we don't control our emotions, something else happens. Sin is not so far away from us. People now see the action of your emotions. First, it starts with the emotions, and if the emotions are not managed, what we see is the actions. And sometimes you don't need to so much interrogate the actions. Sometimes you have to interrogate what exactly was this person feeling, and for how long has he been feeling like this, and how can we as disciples look out for one another so that we don't build up to this case of Abel, of Cain, where you know the story, he got to a point where he actually murdered his own brother. Jesus on the other side, you see in Matthew 26, 36 to 46, he's having these emotions of sorrow and being troubled. His soul is overwhelmed with sorrow. If someone told you that they feel overwhelmed, certainly you'll not say it's a good thing. It's a good thing that overwhelmed. A lot of times you'll be like, oh boy, why are you overwhelmed? Can I help? Can I be of assistance? What can you do? Can I do for you? So Jesus is sorrowful. I don't know whether you've ever been sorrowful, but certainly I have been. Especially sometimes when I lose a loved one. The other time there was a very sad burial that I attended of my cousin's son, and my cousin was overwhelmed with sorrow. Even in December when I visited him, he was not himself. And I'm just trying to find out how can I help. And also the next day, the other time also, my cousin lost a wife. So sorrow is a feeling, and sometimes you're troubled because of what you're going through. And Jesus was facing the cross, was just about to face the cross, the ultimate time of his life. And he was not, from this he says, his face, verse 39, going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. So Jesus is wrestling with his emotions. He's wrestling with how he feels. He's feeling that, hey, it's too much. He's overwhelmed. It's too much. God, if it's possible, take it away from me. But we see he goes to his disciples. He asks them, couldn't you men keep watch with me for an hour? So you find him also needing help. But the disciples are not offering that. They are drowning in sleep. And goes back a second time to pray, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." And sometimes we have to wrestle in prayer, other than Cain, who wrestled with the emotions and finally just burst out and executed murder. Jesus wrestles in prayer and to fight it out with God. And that's the whole gist of us meeting together. We pray that we'll get to a point where we can wrestle in prayer with exactly how we feel and manage our feelings in a positive way, in a way that ends up getting to a point where God is glorified, like what we see with Jesus. God's will actually done, and Jesus was fine with that because he wrestled with what he was feeling, and he went to the cross, facing the cross with courage, knowing that he has resolved it with God. You see, so he left them and went away once more. He prays a third time. You can see Jesus prays several times to actually get his sort of emotions right and be satisfied with what he's just about to go through. And he was able to face the betrayer. He says, "Here comes the betrayer. Rise up, let's go. Here comes the betrayer." And you can see that shift from a sorrowful, troubled to now someone who is confident about God's will in his life and is ready to face the cross. So Jesus was able to manage his emotions very well. And he turns out victorious. And one of the things that we want to look at is, they call it emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. And that's what we want to build as disciples here, the three of us. If Val joins us, then it will be the four of us. We want to build that. We want to build emotional intelligence, the ability to identify and manage one's emotions, as well as the emotions of others.
Yes, Val will not be able to manage to join.
Yes.
She has some errand.
Okay.
She's still held up.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Yes, that's fine. So you're saying that emotional intelligence is about managing my own emotions. First of all, identify how I feel and not stonewalling. Stonewalling is where you just umevura tu lakini hausemi ni nini mbaya. You get that's stonewalling, where you're upset at everyone and no one knows exactly what is going on. Now that is losing track of your emotions. You are totally out of control of your emotions. Getting to have emotional intelligence is where you can be able to name your emotions. You have the ability to identify. You are aware of how you feel. And you can harness those emotions and apply them to tasks like thinking and problem solving. Being control. You know how you can be control of your emotions and say, yeah, this is what I feel, but I'm not going to act according to what I feel. I feel angry now, but I'm not going to knock the roof, but I'm not going to yell at someone, or I'm not going to abuse someone. We live in an age where in the past, emotions were suppressed. People were feeling things and they were not talking. Nowadays, emotions are expressed. People are feeling things and they are talking, and they don't want to be told otherwise. They feel that they need to talk. And people need to know how they feel. But also that is being out of control. So we don't want to suppress the emotions. We also don't want to express them in a way that is uncontrollable. So the ability to manage emotions, which includes both regulating one's own emotions when necessary, and then we're helping others to do the same. Sometimes you can feel this, but you can control that and say, yeah, I feel angry, but guys, give me a few minutes, I'll be fine. And you get back and you make a decision that is not fueled of anger, but is very sober. But now we must submit to God by being able to manage our emotions, because God is our author. God has created us, so our emotions are largely from our how God created us. You know how the Bible says, "Don't be angry for long. Let not the sun go down while you're still angry." In other words, it's okay to be angry, but don't ruminate on it. So in reality, our emotions largely determine our actions. So it's actually it's possible to actually catch emotions and catch situations before they explode out of hand. In our Bible talks, in our marriages, in our parenting, you can actually catch the action before it is fully an action. Because of that emotion where it is leading. Just like how Cain is told, please get rid of that emotion or master that emotion and don't do what you're about to do. But Cain just fell right into it and just vent out kabisa. So if you're feeling something positive, confidence, optimism, or contentment, we'll come to one conclusion about what we ought to do. If our emotions are negative, anxiety, anger, sadness, our decision may be quite different, even though we're working with the same set of facts. So you can have the same sort of facts, but the way Simon reacts is very different from the way Washira reacts to the same situation. Okay. Washira at that point maybe is able to be attuned to his emotions, what he feels, and actually change his perspective about his situation and feel more confident and optimistic. But in the other hand, I feel anxiety, anger, and sadness. So what I produce is not something that is very wholesome. So the importance of being aware of our and others' emotions and managing them for Jesus. It's all willful sin starts with negative and managed emotions. Maybe you can pick that persuasion, because it is my persuasion as well, that sometimes all willful sin starts with negative and managed emotions. So if we can manage our emotions again, we can actually become more mature and become more aware of sinful tendencies in our lives. You see that what Galatians says, we can actually put to the cross or crucify the flesh with its passions and desires. These are emotions. So we can actually put to death, crucify the flesh with the passions and desires. Those are emotions, by being in step with the Spirit. So we embrace the fruit of the Spirit by managing and surrendering our emotions to Jesus. Yeah, Jesus says, come to me who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. So it's really about surrendering ourselves. It's not just mastering our emotion, but surrendering ourselves to God. And say, Jesus, this is what I feel. Help me overcome this. I feel angry, I feel this, but help me overcome. Because if you're able to overcome at that level, then your actions, people will not even need to see your actions, because you already mastered your feelings. So we're going to use this acronym, FLAN, to do this exercise for the next 8 weeks. FLAN it's an acronym for feeling, listening, attuning, and need, and I will explain further. So as we go on, I would like you to see whether this is something that we can implement, we can do more as a church in Kiambaa, or even the entire Western Bloc or the entire church in East Africa. Is it a model of discipling that we can adopt more, and how can we be more? Because the whole point is about being a disciple, and how can we be more effective? as being a disciple. So emotional quotient helps us become resolved and successful followers of God. And attaining resolution about how we feel is very key. So I'm going to stop the recording right now because the next